New front-end developers quickly realized that the skill set that they spent time learning, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, is not the only thing that they need to build web applications and websites. Whilst these three technologies are technically sufficient, using a JavaScript framework or library can actually speed up the development time and provide a level of convenience to the developer. JavaScript frameworks and libraries provide a pre-written syntax so that developers don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time they start a new project. Think of it like this. Let's pretend that you're a games development company and you want to make the next Call of Duty game. Rather than writing the code from scratch that allows a character to walk around or jump or fire their weapon, you copy it from a previous game. This is essentially the utility that frameworks and libraries provide developers. Another reason developers might choose to learn a framework or a library is that simply learning a specific framework or library might drastically increase their hireability depending on the market. Some companies are actually specifically picking certain frameworks and libraries purely due to the availability of candidates. For example, at the time of recording, it's currently much easier to hire a React developer than it is to hire a Backbone developer or an Ember developer. Now, there's an important distinction to make here. You heard me mention both frameworks and libraries. That's because they're two completely different things. The difference between a framework and library is that a framework will often require you to build your entire project from scratch using that framework's way of working. Whereas a library is capable of being integrated to an existing project, especially one that hasn't got a framework or library, so that you can migrate that project page by page to using that library. This makes using libraries fantastic for pre-existing larger projects. Another benefit of using frameworks instead of libraries is that the associated plugins or add-ons needed to build extra functionality outside of what that framework would normally provide are often created or formally endorsed by the developer of the framework. They're also often bundled in with the framework to begin with. Whereas in a library, if you need an extra piece of functionality such as JavaScript powered animations, you'll need to find your own plugin for that. To use an analogy, imagine that you wanted to send videos and pictures to your friends on WhatsApp. But in order to do that, you would need to locate, verify that the plugin does what you want it to do, download, install, learn how to use it, all just for that extra piece of functionality instead of the way that it's currently bundled in with frameworks. There are three big JavaScript frameworks and libraries being used in 2023. They are the React library, which was created by Facebook in circa 2013, the Angular framework, which was created by Google in 2010 and then rewritten from scratch in 2016, and finally the Vue framework, which was created by a chap called Evan You, who used to actually work on the Angular team when it was in its early stages. You can learn more about the differences between these three frameworks in the React versus Angular versus Vue video.